Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm going to tell a scary story. Not really. I'm gonna talk some scary stuff, but I'm in my semi truck. The weather's nice. I'm not gonna run it to burn fuel. And I gotta sleep in this truck tonight because that's what truckers do. We find a nice place to park, hopefully right next to our pickup in the morning, and we ride it out. I want to talk about the election, and I'm gonna title this video, My Mom Raised Me to Be a Gentleman. Eh, it is what it is. I ate not too long ago. But my mom raised me to be a gentleman, but I think she's probably voting for Trump. Now, I don't know who my mom is voting for. I don't know who she's going to vote for, but she be sending me a lot of those crazy videos where they have like a thumbnail and a title. Oh, look what these new photos about Kamala Harris. And then you watch the video and it's like 30 minutes of a robot voice telling you some BS about Kamala Harris. And I happen to know a lot of black people that talk a lot of mess about Kamala Harris. Know a lot of Latinos that talk a lot of mess about Kamala Harris. And it's crazy. It's hypocritical, crazy nonsense. And what I look forward to, there's a new movie out, by the way, Donald Trump, The Apprentice, story of his life. I fell asleep during it, to be honest with you. But they go over a lot of things that Trump has been faced. You know, everybody on the Trump side is just liars. Let's talk about the blacks for Trump. The liars. They talk about there's all these before Donald Trump ran for politics, rappers loved Trump. No, they didn't. No rappers loved Trump. I heard that one lying fool, Charleston White, say that Donald Trump is mentioned in over 200 songs. Name one. Name one. Especially name one that talks about Trump in a positive way. Yeah, there's a lot of songs. There's a song called "Fuck Donald Trump." There's lots of songs mentioning Donald Trump. My favorite rapper, Tupac, he didn't rap about Donald Trump. I can't think of any lyric where he talked about Donald Trump specifically, but he mentioned him in some interviews. Rappers didn't like Donald Trump. Say nobody called Donald Trump a racist before he ran for politics. He was sued in the 80s by Ronald Reagan's administration. Seen somebody else say something about Ronald Reagan Ronald Reagan hated Trump. Trump hated Reagan. That's already in the history books. Why are people lying? Those two dudes hated each other. People just lie. They try to say Taylor Swift supported Trump, made her come out the next week. Like, no. First of all, what a dumb thing to assume. Why would Taylor Trump support Trump anyway? Me, I'm pretty conservative. My politics are conservatives. My religious views are pretty conservatives. Let's get to another point. Donald Trump, talk about things that Donald Trump never talked about before he ran for politics. Religion. Never heard the man say he was a Christian before politics, and never seen him anything that might be considered Christian-like. I hear the other rapper, Lord Jamar, criticizing Kamala Harris for pandering to black people. Trump does it worse. He does it more. She pretends to be black when it's convenient for politics. Trump doesn't pretend to be anything until it's politics. He never pretended to like black people. He's a fan of this person, that person, like Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson fought at his casino, made him money, got him publicity, but he's never pretended to like anybody unless it was for a reason. Yeah, he supported Jesse Jackson, politically speaking. He was trying to buy Jesse Jackson. He bought politicians. He said it in a debate. He said, I bribed Hillary Clinton to Hillary Clinton's face. She didn't deny it or anything like that, but yeah, I've been buying politicians for years. He buys people. Again, let's get back to the subject of the video, though. One thing I can't wait to see is how many women voted for Donald Trump. What is this saying? What are women? How should we treat women? I feel reluctant and I feel bad to talk about this because more women are voting for Donald Trump. I mean, more women are voting against Donald Trump than for Donald Trump. But how can we respect women? Again, my mom raised me to be a gentleman, but I think she might be voting for Donald Trump. What's up with that? Why do so many people excuse Donald Trump and say that he could get away with things that we can't get away with? Back to Lord Jamar. He holds Kamala Harris up to this crazy standard. She's never done this before. She's never done that before. And neither has Trump. Before Trump ran for politics, again, only relation he had to black people was evict them out of buildings and not renting to black people. He literally got sued for not renting to black people. That was the lawsuit. The Trump Foundation, and they settled the case. They didn't beat the case. They settled the case. They would not rent to black people. That's what they got sued for in the 80s. And there's no evidence that that ever changed. They got that one story that's just anecdote of him letting some black homeless woman stay in his building. What's up with that? What more to it? More to the story. What's up with that? Because he don't run a charity. He don't like homeless people. I was a garbage man for years. I didn't like the stunt of him putting on a yellow vest and stumbling and fumbling to get into a garbage truck. It's probably the closest he's ever gotten to a garbage truck, and it was brand new, sparkling white clean. Probably he's never been around a dirty garbage truck or a landfill. And if he was there for business purposes. How can I exploit this to make more money to buy a turd, polish it up, and sell it? That's his business model. There was a time when you could say I was a fan of Donald Trump, like The Art of the Deal. I read the book. I liked the book. I recommended the book when I was a young man in my 20s, back in the 1900s. I liked that book. I really liked that book. And I even probably would have gave that book credit for helping me change my life. But I was reading a ton of books. It's not like that's the only, what can you call that book? Like infotainment, self-improvement. It was in the self-help section, because it's not quite a business book. It's not quite a real estate book. It really is kind of like a self-help book, self-help book. But I really didn't like the moral of the story. The moral of the story was be shady. Win. It doesn't matter how you win. It's kind of the moral of the story. It's a good book as far as like, one, you learn how some people are. But two, as a young man, I was trying to change my life. I grew up in Chicago, poverty. Went to prison, got locked up early, young. And that's the one thing, like, vote for me. At least I got the criminal behavior out of my system. I remember I had a cellmate in prison. He was an actual white supremacist. It's a funny thing, man. People like Candace Owens, these MAGA people, they like to tell us that white supremacy isn't a thing anymore. I actually had a cellmate who was a white supremacist. We were cellmates for a long time. Hated each other. And it didn't turn into a love fest, but we definitely got along. We were cellmates, towards the end, it's hard to say that we hated each other, even though it was always a little bit of love-hate there. But love is a strong word. Hate is a strong word too. Love and hate are strong words. We were just cellmates. He was him, I was me. But there were times that we really hated each other. There were times we really liked each other. Like, I appreciate him. He worked on my tattoos. We ate together many nights. There was things on the prison where we got put on lockdown and we had to stay in a cell all day together. It was challenges. But he got a copy of Mein Kampf, the autobiography written by Hitler. He wouldn't let me read it. He got an English version of Mein Kampf, wouldn't let me read it. And that was real good because that snagged me back into reality. Like, hey, man, don't drop your guard. This is a fucking white supremacist, dude. Y'all ain't friends. He'll share his commissary with you. He'll work on your tattoo, but he won't let you read that Mein Kampf. He won't let you touch that book. So at the end of the day, he will always see you as an enemy. He will always see you as, you know what I'm saying? He'll push you he'll push you in front of the bus to save his his kind and his kin. That's who he is. That's what he is. But anyway, dang, why'd I bring up my cellmate? Oh, he was reading an article one time. We used to have these like arguments slash debates, and he was reading an article about this dude who had committed a crime at like 40, and the judge threw the book at him. Now we locked up in Texas, and they used to throw the book at people. Anyway, he read the story, and I was like, "Dang, man! He went his whole life. He was a first time offender at like 40, and the judge gave him the max. And I was like, man, that's kind of messed up. Now he didn't tell me the race of the dude, but I'm pretty sure even how the debate panned out, because me and him started debating about it. But I was like, that's crazy, man. He went his whole life. He never got in any trouble. And then, you know, he gets first time offender and the judge throws the book at him. And so anyway, me and him got to talking and we knew each other's life story pretty much. And me and him both, we got in trouble young, and I was really trying to reform myself at the time. And he was working on reforming himself at the time too. But he was always, he got a messed up story, man. He would do good for a little while and crash out. The crime that had got him back in prison was really horrible. He was a horrible dude, man. His crimes, his stories, they were horrible, man. But anyway, we got to this little debate, and I was like, the judge should have had some leniency on him. And I was like, look at us, man. Wouldn't it have been nice if the judge gave us some leniency? But he had made this one point, and he was like, that's my point exactly. Me and you, we come from hard backgrounds. We never really had a chance. We're in prison, but nobody ever thought that we wasn't going to go to prison. It's not like we had it and we fell off. We were juvenile delinquents that ended up in prison. And we were juvenile delinquents because of our environment, our situations, our families. I come from a very dysfunctional, broken family. My mom grew up in a foster home, and her family didn't have much to offer me, especially as far as finance or even life advice. My biological father was an orphan. I never met him personally. My mom's first husband, my stepfather, this motherfucker was a crazy, violent dude with a crazy, violent history. I grew up in a crazy part of Chicago during a crazy time. Another reason I don't appreciate Donald Trump talking about how crime in Chicago is worse than it's ever been. Crime in Chicago is safer than it's ever been. Living conditions in Chicago are better today than they've been in forever, probably ever. You probably have to go back before the 1920s. This is my company calling me. Hello? Yeah, not really. It looks like I'm gonna be good parked where I'm at, but those notes were weird. So I just want to double check because, like I said, it says in two spots you could park across the street and you could park anywhere. But there's also one section where it says no parking allowed. I'm probably in the right spot. Yeah, I'm right across the street from the truck entrance. All right. All right. Appreciate the call. That was a good interruption. I'm off the clock. This is truckers' life. Truckers, we have hard lives, man. They say Kamala Harris. That's a funny thing, this whole McDonald things with Kamala Harris. They say Kamala Harris lied about working at McDonald's. I seriously doubt that's true. I worked at Burger King once. I robbed at Burger King. That's what I end up going to prison for. That Burger King is no longer open. So it's real easy to prove that I worked at the Burger King because I went to prison for robbing that Burger King. Other than that, how you going to find a coworker that works there? We're from urban areas. We're from cities. Places go forward, go up, come down. When I robbed that Burger King back in the 1900s, that whole part of the city looked completely different. They've tore down stuff, built up stuff. Kamala Harris is from like the Bay Area. I don't know. I really don't know. But the whole thing is the same people who are mad that Kamala Harris might have lied about working at McDonald's, which I don't believe. Who lies about working at McDonald's? Why on earth is it hard to believe that she worked at McDonald's while she went to college? If she worked, and why wouldn't you believe it? She wasn't rich. Her parents were working middle class. Why wouldn't she work her way? Why wouldn't she work? I ain't gonna say work her way through college. I don't know her situation. She seems smart and resourceful enough to get like grants or maybe a scholarship. But I drove Uber since 2013 off and on. I've driven many upper middle class kids home from their fast food job. I got one not too long ago. I drive around Texas. My main city is Austin, but being an Uber driver and being an Uber driver like me, if I get a long run to Houston or Dallas or Fort Worth or something like, I'm going to take it. So there's been plenty of times I was driving around Houston, and that happened not too long ago before I came back to truck driving. About a month before I came back to truck driving, I was driving in the Houston area, and I picked up this girl at, I can't remember which fast food restaurant it was, but it was a nice fast food restaurant. It might have been Chick-fil-A. No, it was Whataburger. I'm almost certain it was Whataburger. But it wasn't no Whataburger in the hood. It was a pretty nice Whataburger. But it was nothing. I was still surprised when I got to where I drove her to. This beautiful gated community, dropped her off at this gigantic house. And I wasn't expecting it because she was very polite as she got in the Uber. She was very polite, but she wasn't. You know, she was talking on the phone, but she was real polite, you know, thank you and yes, sir, no, sir, that type of stuff. But at the same time, she had like some crazy weave in her head, and she kind of had, I'm not going to say ratchet. It's hard to explain, but she kind of had some ratchet energy going about her. I was real surprised that I took her where I took her, but like, I don't think she was a college kid. I think she was a high school kid working fast food. But what does that mean? What does that mean here or there? Working fast food, that's what Americans do. And Kamala Harris didn't come from money like Trump. Her parents were immigrants. They worked. They were part of that H-1F, what is that one visa where people get visas because they're very educated. HB 51, I think it's called, something like that. But either way it go, the people who don't believe me, she worked at McDonald's, that's so silly to me. I worked at McDonald's. I worked at McDonald's once. I worked at Burger King once. I worked at Jack in the Box a lot. I worked at Domino's. I worked at a lot of fast food places. I've had a very transient life. Been in and out of prison. I've been doing good these last few years of my life, but still, I've worked fast food the last few years of my life. CDL holder and all. But I was a garbage man. 2008, I got laid off, that Great Recession. That hit me hard. I remember that 2008. And I didn't support Obama, politically speaking. I didn't vote for him. There's actually videos of me saying that I'm not going to vote for him, and I encourage you not to, especially if you're here in Texas. Don't vote for Obama. He's not going to win Texas, no way, no how. Vote for Ron Paul. That's what I was saying. You know, Obama's going to win. There's no doubt about it. Right in Ron Paul. I said that in the Mitt Romney interview or election. When it was Obama versus John McCain, I didn't vote at all. And that was a hard one. I was kind of halfway rooting for both of them. I like John McCain. I like a lot about John McCain. But John McCain, I didn't like when he won the nomination. I didn't like how he bowed to the Republican Party, and he was like, no more straight talk express and blah, 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 and all this. I didn't like his acceptance speech when he won the Republican nomination. I was really disappointed at that speech. I probably would have voted for John McCain if he didn't get that speech and didn't give up the straight talk express. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I didn't support Obama. I didn't agree with Obama. But all these years later, I got to admit, still politically speaking, he's very left-wing as far as I'm concerned. But boy, did he help the economy. 2008, the Great Recession, I remember that, man. Hit us hard. And we bounced back. 8 years of Obama, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. In some areas. Some areas it was worse. Like I wasn't expecting gay marriage to be legal before marijuana was legal. That's crazy to me. Things like that. I wasn't expecting him to bow down and kiss the ass of the gay community and pretty much tell the black community to kiss his ass. You got to think about it. The Black Lives Matter, all in protest, that happened under Obama because Obama was like, he was talking that shit. This is a post-racial America. He never said post-racial. That is the right-wingers that put them words in his mouth. This country ain't post-racial. And those people that I'm talking about, the Fox News types, the MAGA types, they've quote-unquote gaslit us. We're afraid to even talk about the word racism. But yeah, I made this video a lot longer than I expressed myself well, I think. But I really hope I express that to my mother and to all you women. Guys like me who pay attention to the politics, look, the ballot is secret. We're not going to know, but we are going to know. We're going to know what percentage of white women voted for Kamala Harris. We're going to know what percentage of black women voted for Kamala Harris. We're going to know what percentage of Hispanics voted for Trump. And that's what I'm looking for. I can't wait to analyze these numbers. And these numbers, I've already become so much of a loner. Look at me, all alone in my truck. Happy, comfortable, content. I would like to get married one day. But again, this election is going to tell me a lot. Women, again, my mama raised me to be a gentleman, but she might vote for Donald Trump. And same with these women. They're about to vote for Donald Trump. Him, before Epstein was a household name, a young girl, a young teenage girl, made a deposition and said Donald Trump and Epstein raped her. Her deposition is on YouTube. This happened way back in the day. People like me, we had no idea who Epstein was back when she gave that deposition. And some women are about to vote for him. Donald Trump's first wife said that he brutally assaulted her. Ivana's mom, whatever. Her name was Ivanka or Vanya, whatever. His first wife, a foreigner, by the way. He loves foreigners as long as they're from European countries. It's bogus, man. As long as they're women who aren't corporate women, they just want to be his pets. He's down with that mail order bride bullshit. That's cool. Import as many of them as you want. But smart people. Anyway, I don't want the border completely wide open. It's not completely wide open. I'm a truck driver. I'm at the border often. And I know those border towns. So many people talk about the border. People talk about the border. They got no business talking about the border. I am an Austin resident. I went to school. I was born and raised in Chicago, but I moved to Texas early. And my hometown in Texas is San Antonio. I've been South Central Texas all this time. I've worked with so many Mexicans, lived with so many Mexicans and Mexican Americans and Tejanos and various types of Texans. I know the border. I work the border. There's never been a 5-year period in my life where I haven't been working around the border. My opinion on the border should count. A lot of other people's opinion on the border shouldn't count. It should be safe. Border Patrol should be allowed to protect it the way they want to. My biggest beef with the border is they got the dog sniffing up your butt to see if you got a joint on you. That's ridiculous. I don't smoke weed anymore. I'm focused on my truck driving career. But I don't like the way that weed is used as a way to keep blacks enslaved, an excuse to have dogs sniffing little kids. Stop and frisk. I don't like that. I've never lived in New York City, but voting for Trump is saying that you cool with stop and frisk going everywhere. And guys like me, I think it's funny. No matter who I voted for Kamala, I hope she wins. But again, if Trump wins, how are we going to look at women? Especially, how many women are going to vote for him? How many women say that they want a good Christian man and Christian moral values, and this is the guy you're voting for? People from the pulpit. This dude slapped his name on the Bible and is selling it for $69.95. What type of Christian is? I know what type of Christian it is. It's this commercial bullshit American ass Christian that celebrates Christmas with Santa Claus and Christmas trees, which the Bible says not to do. The type of Christian that puts skeletons, trick or treat, pass out the candy, that type of bullshit. America's a bullshit country. I love America. This is my country. This is my hometown or home country. I was born and raised here. Plan on dying here. If I had to fight in a war, this is the country I would want to fight for. But again, what's going to happen in this election? I'm not going to feel that way. I'm not going to want to fight under any circumstances. If Trump is the commander in chief, I'm not going to want to fight. And I'm too old. Don't ask me. I'm young enough to where I'll fight for the right commander in chief. I'm 46. And I've tried to join the military a few times, but I was a convicted felon since the age of 18, 19. So, my chances, I wasn't allowed to join the military before. I certainly ain't going to join the military now. Especially for a dude that dodged the draft. Almost, that's what kills me about the current right wing. Man, I really hope that Republicans send a message. That's what I'm looking for, man. The Republican Party. Hopefully so many Republicans vote for Kamala Harris that the Republican Party splinters and we could have like a different type of Republican, Lincoln Republicans, Black Republicans, radical Republicans. Something needs to happen. I can't wait. It's only 2 more days to the election, and I can't wait to see the results. No matter who wins, Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, neither one of them respect people like myself from the south side of Chicago. Born in poverty, like I say, my mom's a foster kid. Neither one of them give a damn about me or mine. I do think that Kamala Harris, she's not young, but I think she would want to do well. Like Obama. I think Obama was worried about, I think she's the one that has this saying. Kamala has this thing her mama used to tell her, you might be the first woman to do something, but make sure you're not the last woman to do something. And anyway, her mom did raise her to be a black woman. I really don't appreciate people saying that. Kamala ain't black enough. Where the hell you from? Kamala got a black voice. She always sound black. Obama is the one with the Hawaiian accent, which I ain't tripping on. That stuff don't matter. I do disagree with a lot of his policies. Politically speaking, I disagree with Obama a lot. I was born and raised in Chicago, and he called Chicago his hometown. He could have it. Chicago didn't take good care of me as a little kid, and Chicagoans love him more than they love me or Larry Hoover. They voted for Obama, but they didn't vote to get Larry Hoover free. And that's not 100% true. I shouldn't say that. I can't say that. Chicago has never really had an opportunity. Well, they do now. Well, they don't now, really. Because again, neither one of them give a damn about about Larry Hoover. Trump had a chance to free Larry Hoover, and he didn't. So I really think that Larry Hoover vote should not. He should lose the Larry Hoover vote just off of that. Definitely should lose the Tupac vote. Man, oh man. But again, like I say, my mama raised me to be a gentleman, but she might vote for Trump. I can't wait to see this election. Going forward, I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it. Being a gentleman gets you where in this country? Especially, as far as like black-white relationships. If white women vote for Trump, our moms raised us, especially if you're older like me, they kind of raised you to be kind of like, look out for white girls, you know, protect them, show them that you are blah, blah, blah. They don't give a fuck. They just racist. Depending on, again, and this ain't personal. I got plenty of white female friends. And I probably even got some that are probably voting for Trump. And I get a lot of it. I am conservative. I know that for some people, they think voting for Trump is voting to keep abortion illegal. That's really ignorance. Roe versus Wade it should have been overturned a long time ago off of the merits of the case. It was a very bogus case. Roe versus Wade was a bad case. The lady won her right to get an abortion. She never got the abortion. She lied about everything. And on top of that, she became a anti-abortion activist later in her life. Gloria Allred and Donald Trump should both go to jail. They both should go to jail for messing up this country and lying so much. And that's what I really hope. If Trump wins or loses, they're not going to stop trying to put him in jail. He belongs in jail. He's committed crimes. And I don't know if I finished the story about my cellmate, how we had that argument. I'm doing the weave over here. But, my cellmate made the point, this motherfucker lived his whole life without getting in trouble. And he decided that's what it was. He was selling drugs too. Like he had became a drug dealer. He had got like turned out. And he was like, yeah, he decided later in life to become a thug. And me, I was studying psychology, so I had sorry for him. I had compassion for him. I was like, dude, going through a midlife crisis. But my cellmate, I took the other side of the argument, but I got to give him the point. You wait till late in life to become a thug and a hooligan. And look at Trump. Trump has always been this guy. He's just at that age where he don't give a damn anymore. But he talks about Al Capone. That's his hero. Has always been his hero. He always thought he was a cool dude. He always wanted to be like a gangster. Always was a bully. But yeah, that's the one difference between me. Maybe I can become president one day as an ex-convict because I got it out of my system. I'm not like this dude. When Trump finally does get arrested and convicted in these Epstein files, boy, if Trump is in them Epstein, they need to just release the Epstein file. That needs to be the first thing. If Kamala Harris wins, that needs to be the first thing she do. Just open all kind of files like that. Let people see. Trump, I don't want Trump to die not knowing that everybody knows. And he don't talk about that. He don't talk about the little teenage girl that says that Epstein and Trump kidnapped him. And not kidnapped, that's not the right word. Trafficked him. Abused him. I could get in trouble on YouTube. They'll take my video down if I say explicitly in detail what Trump is accused of doing to this girl. Trump's own wife. Hell, I shouldn't be able to. I'm gonna put the adult thing on this. And this is towards the end of the video anyway. So it is what it is, man. Please like, share, and subscribe because YouTube tries to mute messages like this. The little girl said that Trump and Epstein raped her. Her deposition is on YouTube. Look it up if you don't believe me. Donald Trump's first wife, one of his wives, I don't know which one. I don't know if it was Marla Maples or Ivanka, but one of his wives said that Trump raped her and brutally abused her. And here's my thing about that. Look, I don't know if she's telling the truth or she's lying, but I got a rule. If somebody's wife says they're a horrible person, take them for their word. Because best case scenario, this person married somebody that's willing to lie on them like that. I've been lied on. I've been lied on to the point where I've got sent to jail and arrested and shit like that. But I've never had like a life partner just make up horrible things. Say that I did something. You know what I'm saying? I I hope it never happens, but I couldn't imagine somebody that I helped raise or I took care of or I nurtured or I loved on falsely accuse me of something like rape or, you know, abuse, punching them in the, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not abusive. I've never punched a woman or anything like that. But could you imagine being accused of like beating on a woman and like making her your, like beating on her and like putting her in the basement? You know, it's one thing to lose your temper and have a fight, passion, whatever they call it. But to be somebody that's like, you abusing somebody because you're trying to keep them your slave, your property, you're trying to subjugate them, you're trying to psychologically break them down and torment them. That's a different level shit. That's not a bad day. That's not a bad temper. That's not a short fuse. That's not an accident. That's not an accident when you're trying to beat somebody into submission and control them and dominate them. That's evil. That's willful evil. That's you being, at the very least, the most blasphemous thing in the world, trying to take somebody's freedom. It's the worst kind of blasphemy. So don't say that you voting for Donald Trump because you love Jesus. That is not a good excuse. Anyway, your children are watching. It would be nice if we could see who people are voting for. Like, it'd be nice if they released those records at somebody's death so you could be like, you know, this woman that raised me to be a gentleman, she's voting for a dude who's been accused of rape many times before. The Bible says, avoid evil and all appearances of evil. Donald Trump made this little, I heard recently he was talking about, I don't know the Bible too good and da 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 da. You don't have to know the Bible to know. If you're a Christian and you got Jesus in your heart, that scripture I just said right there, avoid evil and avoid all appearances of evil. It's not about knowing that scripture. That's about living that, because you say that Jesus lives in your heart and Jesus watches you when nobody else is watching. You're not trying to impress people. You know that God is always watching you. Avoid evil. You don't. Do you really need to be told that? Avoid evil and avoid all appearances of evil. Do you really need to be told that? Does Donald Trump avoid appearances of evil, or does he try his best to look evil sometimes? This is what you're voting for. And I'm making this video and I'm uploading this video on my own internet, on my own data, because it's that important. I want this message out there. I don't care who wins this election. I don't care who wins this election. This is before the election. What are we about to become? And whatever we become, this more than anything else, this race is so close. We deserve whatever we get. We deserve whatever we get. Because before Kamala Harris was even running, it was Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. Why? Why was it these two old dudes? Why is it these two old dudes? And then us as a black community really needs to shut the hell up. Yes, Kamala Harris, her parents were foreigners. Her mom's from India, her dad's from Jamaica. This is the first real black president candidate we've had. Before that was Obama. White parent, African father. No descendants of slaves have gotten anywhere near close. And we can't blame nobody for that but us. We've not been interested in politics. We haven't taught our children or encouraged our children to get into political science. And even now, look at how we talk about politics. Look at who's the most popular black political speakers. Candace Owens, Tatum, Larry Elder. Our best speakers, they rap, and they rap about bullshit. Want to be drug dealers, want to be punks, want to be pimps, want to be gangbangers. Everybody raised by their single mothers. What have you showed your sons that you're attracted to? Are you attracted to intelligence? Are you attracted to integrity? So this is a scary story. Once upon a time, there was a country